This is Artworkium.
Welcome back to Inventive Legacies, patents that shaped our lives.
This is the series where we really dig into the stories behind the amazing patent documents you can find in our online store.
Yeah, we take what looks like maybe dry technical stuff and turn it into, hopefully, a fascinating deep dive. We look at how these sometimes simple ideas really change things for us.
And we really want to say this series is a huge thank you to all of you who support us by buying our digital prints. Think of this as a little extra, exploring the history behind those designs you liked enough to purchase.
Absolutely.
So today we're pulling one from the toys and games section. And oh boy, is it a classic. The game that I think has probably caused more family debates than even Monopoly.
I think you might be right.
We were talking about the brilliant little details behind Scrabble.
But maybe not the part you'd expect. We're not looking at, the dictionary arguments or the tile values themselves today.
No, we're looking at the board. The apparatus, as the patent calls it. Specifically, how they solve that really annoying little problem.
The one where you have to lift the tile up?
Yes, that exact moment. Wait, what color was that square again? That frustration.
Well, Patent did a fix for that. It's quite clever, actually.
I bet. And if you want to see the actual patent print we're talking about, the blueprint for this solution, the link is right there in the episode description. Check it out.
Definitely worth a look. Get ready to see your game night in a whole new way.
Okay, so let's get into the official details. The document we're looking at is patent ID, 2,752,158.
Right. And the title is super generic, Game Apparatus.
Doesn't exactly scream Scrabble, does it?
Not at all. It was published June 26, 1956, but the application, that went in earlier, October 28, 1954.
And the inventors.
James and Helen Brunot from Newtown, Connecticut.
Now, here's something I found really interesting. We obviously connect this straight to Scrabble. But reading the patent, they were thinking bigger, weren't they?
Oh, definitely. They state it's particularly applicable to the playing of word games, sure, but the core idea, it's described as a solution for any board game where you have these special spots, premium squares, that change your score.
So like bonuses or penalties.
Exactly. They saw this as a broader fix for game design in general, not just for their game.
Which makes sense because the problem was universal.
Right. The problem, as they saw it, was that these special spots, the ones with the double word score or whatever written on them, the patent calls that the primary indicia.
Okay.
Well, you put your playing piece, your tile, right on top of it.
And poof, it vanishes.
Gone, covered up. So then what happens?
Then comes the drama. You've just played QI on a triple letter score. You think you're raking it in, and someone goes, "Are you sure that was the triple?"
Uh-huh.
And you have to stop everything, lean over, carefully lift your tile, maybe knock over the eye, just to see the color underneath. It kills the momentum.
It really does. And the patent actually calls this out. It says players have to, and I quote, frequently be lifted to discover how the score should be adjusted. They saw it as this little chore, this barrier that just interrupted the flow.
So the whole point of this patent, this invention, was basically to stop you from having to lift the tile.
Pretty much. Their stated goal was to eliminate or substantially reduce the need to do that. It's all about keeping the game moving smoothly.
Okay, that's brilliant in its simplicity. So if you can't stop the tile covering the middle bit, you move the info somewhere else. How'd they do it?
With something they called supplemental indicia, secondary indicators.
Supplemental indicia. Sounds very official.
It does. But what it means is these little physical projections, and I love this term from the patent, pips.
Pips, like on a dice?
Kind of, yeah. But these pips, these little bumps or marks, they stick out from the main square into the margin strips around it. You know, the grid lines.
Okay, so they're not in the square, they're next to it in the grid line space.
That's it. So even when your tile covers the main bonus writing, the pips are still sitting there, visible in the margins.
Clever. And how did you know what they meant?
It's numerical, super simple. The number of pips tells you the score multiplier. 3 pips, the patent drawing calls them, 30 means triple score. 2 pips, 32 in the drawing means double score.
So you just glance at the edge. No lifting, no guessing colors. Just count the pips. 1, 2, 3.
Triple.
Instant visual check. And they even thought about color coding them too, suggesting the pips could be the same color as the square itself. You know, blue pips for a blue triple word square.
Okay, that seems straightforward enough, but wait. If you have like 4 squares all meeting at one corner.
Good point. How do you know which square owns those pips in the margin? They could belong to the square above, below, left, or right.
Exactly. How do they solve that potential confusion?
This is where it gets really specific. They introduced what they called a directional configuration characteristic.
Directional configuration characteristic for a board game piece. Sounds like something from NASA. It does sound intense, but it was crucial. They couldn't just be dots. Think about it. A dot in the margin. Which square is it for? Especially if tiles aren't placed perfectly centered, which, let's be honest, they never are.
True. So the shape mattered.
Immensely. The patent is explicit. The pips are triangular.
Triangular. Okay. Why triangular?
And crucially, they point away from the square to which they belong.
Ah, so the flat base of the triangle sits right on the edge of the bonus square it relates to.
That's the idea. The base clearly anchors it to its home square, and the point sticks out into the margin. It points away, defining ownership, making it instantly clear which square gets the bonus. No ambiguity.
That is. Wow. Such a tiny detail, the specific shape and direction of a little mark, solving a potential point of confusion. It's like hidden instructions.
It really is. It's all about clarity and trust in the game mechanics. Minimize arguments, speed things up.
And I guess getting that right meant thinking about the size of everything, too.
Absolutely. That brings us to the geometry of visibility, as I like to call it, based on the patent's claims. It hinges on the relationship between the playing pieces, the tiles called 20 in the drawings, and the board squares 15.
They have to be roughly the same size, right? The tile and the square.
Pretty much, yeah. The tile 20 is designed to cover the square 15, and therefore cover the primary indicia, the main bonus marking.
Okay, so tile covers the main text. But how do they guarantee we can still see the pips, the supplemental indicia, in the margin?
They engineered the margins, those grid lines. The design ensures that even if you place a tile perfectly centered, you can still see half the width of the margin all the way around it.
Half the margin is still visible.
And critically, they made that margin wide enough and the pips distinct enough that even if the tile is what the patent calls maximum area or slightly off-center,
Which happens all the time.
right, even then, at least half of one margin strip and the pips within it will still be visible.
So, unless you somehow manage to place tiles perfectly on all 4 sides of the bonus square at the exact same time,
Which the patent notes very seldom occurs.
you'll always be able to see the pips for the square you just covered. They basically designed it to be foolproof against slightly clumsy tile placement.
They accounted for real-world play. It's that blend of the directional shape, the triangle, and the careful sizing of the tiles versus the margins. That's what makes the system work and solves the score confusion without lifting the tile. Shorts, silence, transition.
Wow. Okay, listening to this, it really makes you appreciate the thought that goes into something we just accept as part of the game.
Right.
So, thinking about all that, what detail stood out most to you listening right now? We just went deep on a tiny aspect of a board game, but honestly, every time you play Scrabble and just glance at the edge to confirm your score, you're benefiting from James and Helen Brunot wanting to save you that tiny bit of hassle.
It's true. For me, maybe it's just the sheer fact that this whole detailed patent exists just to solve that one little annoyance having to lift the tile. That focus on the player experience is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a good one. Or maybe learning the official name. Those little markers are called pips or projections, and that they had to be triangular and point outwards. That specific geometric solution is kind of amazing.
Definitely. Or maybe it was the technical side, the fact that they literally calculated the tile size versus the margin width to make sure you could always see at least half the margin and its pips. That it wasn't just luck, it was like proper engineering.
Any of those grab you. Or something else entirely. Let us know.
Jump onto social media, share what surprised you or what you found most interesting. Use the hashtag #InventiveLegacies. Yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts. And of course, if you enjoyed this, please think about subscribing or maybe leaving a review. It really helps others find the show and ensures you won't miss our next deep dive into another iconic patent. So just to wrap up today's exploration, we saw how James and Helen Brunot took a common board game frustration, not being able to see the bonus under your piece, and designed a really elegant solution.
Yeah, they added that layer of supplemental indicia. Those brilliant little triangular pips tucked away in the margins, always visible.
They turned that annoying moment of lifting and checking into just a quick, easy glance. It's all right there in patent 2,752,158. A fantastic example of design that really focuses on smooth gameplay.
Function following frustration, maybe. Yeah, really powerful lesson there.
Definitely. And, here's something to maybe noodle on before we sign off. The patent mentions tiles could be placed based on dice rolls, spinners, or sequences, not just forming words. But it also references some much older patents, like from 1915, 1923, probably for more abstract games. So think about this. What if those older, maybe simpler abstract games had used this concept? How might adding these simple, visible, supplemental value indicia, these little triangular pips, have changed the way scoring worked? Or even just the speed and feel of playing those classic games decades earlier?
That's interesting. How would it change chess, maybe? Or checkers? Adding bonus squares with visible pips. Something to think about next time I'm staring at a Scrabble board.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the surprisingly complex world of the Scrabble game apparatus.
We really hope you enjoyed digging into the details of this clever invention. Please tune in next time for more inventive legacies. And again, a huge thank you for your loyalty and support of Artworkium.
Good.
Bye for now.